Welcome to Fearless Females, where ambition meets resilience. Meet your guide, Lorie Jones, owner of Fearless Financial Advisors. Join her and remarkable women executives as they uncover the triumphs and transformative moments shaping extraordinary careers. Ready to be fearless? Let the journey begin.
Good morning, Fearless Females, and thanks so much to our sponsor, Fearless Financial Advisors. You guys know, because you listen to me talk, how much I love what I do. Like, truly, honestly, from the bottom of my heart, love financial advising. So go on over, check it out. If you've got questions, reach out. I'm not scary. I try and make it fun, bring snacks sometimes. So today we are talking to Liz Wendling. And the part that I loved best about our conversation is just how authentic she is. And I know that authentic was word of the year like a couple of years ago, and now it's like overused and way overdone. So we talk about being real, being true. But you know what? I think it just boils down to the fact that you are who you say you are. Like, you know, when you talk to me that you're going to get someone who is obsessed with spreadsheets, super excited about anything having to do with finance, and really, really wants to empower women in everything they do. Like, that's who I am. That's who I am at my core. That's who I am. I'm real. And Liz kind of just embodies that idea of being authentic, being real. She tries to help you bring that sales process down to something that feels good for you. And I'll tell you that I've spent a lot of years in financial services, and it is not the most friendly towards authenticity. Like, a lot of times I'll joke that, you know, they throw the white pages at you and they're like, okay, start cold calling. I had to do it that way. You do it that way. And it just isn't the way that I do finance. It isn't the way that I talk to my clients. It isn't the way that I come across. And Liz gets that. Like, she understands that unless you show up as who you really are, unless you are able to meld those parts of your life, that professional piece and that personal caring and personality and those other things that you have in your life, unless you are able to make both of those combine, you really aren't going to be able to work at a 10. You won't sell as well as you will if you come at it with a really, this is who I am. This is who I can help. And this is what I do. And she helps you come up with a plan to do that. So I'm so excited because I always like listening to women who help other women just get better at what they're doing. So let's get started with Liz. Good morning, Fearless Females. Thank you for joining us today. Today we have Liz Wendling. She is a sales trainer and business consultant for her own business. And I'm so excited to have this conversation with you. Liz has so much energy. I just love the energy you bring. So I am so excited to have this conversation with you today.
Same here, Lorie.
So my first question is always, I love books, love reading. What is your favorite?
Well, I am the same. I have thousands of books on my Kindle, but there is one that I don't even need 1 second to think about the answer to this one. And it's called Straight Line Leadership. The name of the author is Dushan Jesect or something like that. Every time I see it, I can't pronounce it, but it's Straight Line Leadership. And it is the most direct book I've ever read. It's uncomfortable, and it really does poke people at the core of how they run their life and their business. And the core idea is that most people spend a lot of time going in circles or zigzagging their life and overthinking and adding drama. And Straight Line Leadership believes in like cutting through all that BS and the noise. And when he describes what a straight line leader is, and it means it could be straight line mother, straight line spouse, it doesn't matter, is when you are in a circle and you just keep chasing your tail and doing the same thing over and over, once you straighten that circle out with certain activities and behaviors, you become a straight line leader. Or if you're a zigzag person, you do one thing, then you stop, and then you do something else. Once you straighten the zigzag out, you become a straight line leader. And it has a lot of distinctions and a lot of ways to help clarify and undo the circle and the zigzag so that when you are leading, selling, working, marketing, networking, whatever it is, you're on that straight line and you have a lot of clarity and less fluff.
I love that. I love that idea. It's like, I actually listened to another woman whose podcast and she says, no fluff. There's like no fluff. It's all about productivity. And she's like, I'm giving you the things that you need to do. I'm not giving you the fluff. Because as women, don't we do that? Don't we we try and do everything. We try and bring everything in. We try and do all the things. And yes. I love that idea of like a straight line. I'm putting that on my book list.
Good. And the thing, Lorie, though, is people think they're supposed to do more because that's what the world is screaming. You need to do this and you need to get out more and you need to do this. No, you don't. You just need to do what's right for you. But you first have to spend some time taking a look at, what do I want to do? What do I like to do? What am I good at? What could I hire out? What do I never want to do again? Too many people are telling people that they have to do it one way. And that is the biggest misconception in business right now. That's dangerous.
Yeah, I love it. I'm putting it at the top of my stack. So it's the next one because the stack is that big. So I love that. Thank you for that, Liz.
You're welcome.
So tell me a little bit about your journey. Like, where did you get started? How did you get where you're at today? What do you do? Tell me just a little bit about you.
Well, my sales journey started, I would say, for about 40 years ago. I was living and working in Manhattan. I was working at an advertising agency and I took a part-time job selling fitness memberships in this beautiful, spectacular Midtown Manhattan fitness center. It was gorgeous. So I couldn't afford the membership because back then, 40 years ago, I remember the membership being $849 a year, which today is, I don't know, $5,000.
Yeah.
And so I went to sales school. It was myself and 4 men. And even back then, something intuitively was telling me the way that sales was done way back then just didn't feel right in my body. And I started listening to my body, but not listening to the trainer, listening to what felt good for me and dismissing what they would say. And I went out on my own and I'm like, I'm not going to say that. I'm going to say it this way, or I'm not going to treat someone like that. I'm going to do it this way. So I was secretly doing the opposite. And I wound up becoming the top producer 4 months in a row. And everyone kept saying, oh, it's because you're a woman. Oh, it's because you have a better schedule. And I didn't have the heart to tell people, no, it's because you sound like a salesperson and I don't. And eventually I came clean to my boss, and he was from Brooklyn, and in a very not so nice way with a couple of curse words in there, he said, get your blank and get the hell out of here. I didn't hire you to do it your way. Even though you're a top seller, I didn't hire you to sell it your way. It's our way, and you're out of here. And that's when I was devastated because I really liked the position, but I realized, wow, there's something intuitive in me that I really need to listen more of. Now, it didn't hit me that quickly. It wasn't like suddenly I was listening to my intuition, but something was starting to stir in me. And that was the beginning of probably just till this morning, a 40-year journey on me and what I want and what talks to me, my intuition, the way it talks to me. I really do listen now.
Mm-hmm. That's so interesting. How old were you when you started this journey? Like,
I was a youngin'. I would say my first sales jobs in my 20s.
Uh-huh. So yeah. That takes a lot of gumption at that age to like have enough confidence in yourself to say your way doesn't work for me.
And I didn't even know what I was doing at the time. I was just doing it because it didn't feel right. And my dad would say, and because you like to do the opposite of everyone else. He goes, you don't listen to anybody. You like to do things on your own. And he's right. Because I still act that way. When everybody else is zigging, I go in the opposite direction because following the masses doesn't mean anything. It just means it's popular. It doesn't mean it works.
Yeah. Yeah. That's so interesting. I have a daughter that actually doesn't, she's so strong-willed and she does not like to be told what to do, which is my fault. So I get it. So maybe I'm going to have her go into sales to tell her that's where.
And you know what? We're all in sales. If we have a business, we've got to sell ourselves. So it's not unique, men and women. We have to do it. If you want to make a living, there has to be some form of a sales conversation that happens. There just has to be.
So tell me how you got, though, from that early part to what you're doing now.
Well, I started to see a thread, even everything that I was doing when I was working at this advertising agency. The thread was human beings. I was going to work with human beings for the rest of my life. And how could I engage with them and like them and have them like me and have it be more of a collaborative type thing? Not please like me. It's I'm being who I am and I want you to be who you are so we can be honest with each other and have a real relationship or not. And I started diving headfirst into, I'll call it self-help or psychology, and just learning more about me first and human behavior. And those two things woven together absolutely helps me in my business right now because I know how to get the best out of people. I know how to ask the right questions. I'll notice something in someone that they haven't seen yet. And I'll say, hey, Mary, you know what? You have a real knack to do A, B, and C. And they just are so happy when somebody else sees that gift they know they have, but they don't know how to use it in the way that would benefit them. Mm-hmm. And that's how I learned how to do that for myself, that when someone would say to me, oh my gosh, you're so good at X. And at first I needed that outside validation because I wasn't able to get there myself. And then I finally realized I'm not looking outside for the validation anymore. I need to go inward. And that's what I teach my clients, how to find that in themselves so they can assess themselves and do what's right in their business, not going outside to, like we started, with all the gurus out there telling them, you have to do it this way. I'm right, you're wrong.
So did you immediately start your business at that, 25, really young, 25, 30, or did you?
Lord, no. I went another, oh my gosh, probably 15, 16 years working for other people. Mm-hmm. And Lorie, I was not a good employee because just like I said, they would say, we have to do it this way, or this is how you do it. I would be doing it the opposite. So I was a terrible employee. I got fired from so many jobs because of that. But I have this little knack of seeing things on that straight line. Mm-hmm. I can look at a process or look at someone's business and go, oh my God, I already see the issue. I could see it without having to spend hours or weeks or years somewhere. I could see it intuitively first, and then I could act on it very quickly. So no, I spent about 16 years getting fired, looking at new jobs. They were all sales jobs. Uh-huh. And I learned something from each one. Even though I got fired, I learned something about me and business in the process.
Yeah, that's so great. So tell me, is there an investment along this journey, an investment that you've made in yourself that maybe was like, you're like, oh my goodness, I just wouldn't be where I'm at today without that?
I'm sensing a theme in my answers here because I'm going to go back to trusting my gut and understanding how intuition can talk to us if we're willing to hear it and then act on it. Mm-hmm. So I learned and I did a lot of coaching myself. So I had a lot of people helping me. So it was investment in coaching, mm-hmm. But I learned the difference between, and this is probably the biggest thing. It's hard to teach somebody this, but I learned the difference between hearing something in my head of talking myself into something or out of something, or actually feeling it in my gut. We've all had that gut feeling where we don't maybe act on it. And we mm-hmm. say, oh, I knew it. I felt it. I shouldn't have done that. So what I realized is my head talks in full sentences, meaning it'll say things like, oh, you don't want to go there. It's too far. You have to deal with parking. That's when I know my head is making the decision. Mm-hmm. Now my gut and my intuition talks in a few words. It'll say things like, oh, heck yes, Go for it. That's it. Leave now. It's quick and it's short. And that's how I know that it's not this telling me what to do. It's that I know what to do. I don't need my head to tell me. And I could hear myself even till today saying things like, oh, I don't know, it's kind of late. I'll probably hit traffic. Then I know my head's doing the talking. And then I say, all right, do you really want to go? Feel it. And if it doesn't feel right, I say no.
That's so interesting. Yeah. I love that. And you mentioned something earlier where you said that you've had a lot of coaching and that they saw things inside of you that they kind of brought out and helped you to be more successful. Did they teach you how to listen to that feeling inside of yourself, or how did that work? How did you learn?
That's a good question. I remember the first time somebody said to me, it was her exact words. She said, oh, that's your head talking. And I went, what do you, I didn't even know what that meant. Like, yeah, that was my head. It came out of my mouth. And she goes, now I want you to talk from your stomach, your heart, your energy, your intuition. What do you want to do? And I just remember, if you could be thrown back like a blast back. And I went, oh my gosh, I felt the difference there. Mm-hmm. And then that's when I started using that in my business. I would hear someone say, oh, you need to build your business this way. Or if you're going to follow up, do it this way. And I would go, ooh, that doesn't feel right. And then I just go into that place where, okay, what does feel right? How do I want to be talked to? How would I like someone to get back to me or follow up with me or call me on the phone? Do I want to hear the old school sales scripts that sound like, hey, I'm just following up, touching base, reaching out, checking in? Or do I want to be able to teach other people and hear it for myself a way that connects me, not disconnects me?
Yeah. I like that idea because you do have that feeling sometimes where you're just like, that feels right for me. Like I've been going through a bunch of networking and working through networking, and there's some that feel so authentic and so me, and I love it and I'll do it. And there's others that I'm like, that's scary. And I don't like, I have to force myself to go to whatever event or whatever it is that is. Yeah. And I'm learning the difference between what feels good for me and what people tell me should work or I should do.
I agree. Give yourself a big pat on the back and a hug for even knowing that your body's telling you that. You already know, and yet what we all do, we get dressed, we get ready, we drive across town, and we know we shouldn't have been there, but we went anyway.
Yeah, that's so interesting. I'm going to think on that a little bit because it's really bringing a lot of thoughts in my mind about being, authentic and listening to that voice or that feeling that is telling me that that's the right way for me to do it. It might not be the right way for Liz to do it, right?
Absolutely. And we get to do that. We don't have to do everything people say. If it's right for us, we take it on. And if it doesn't, maybe we test it out. And there's nothing wrong with not listening for, an hour or two, and then go, oh yeah, I knew it. That wasn't right for me. I'm not saying that everything is just because you don't want to do it, don't do it. You have to really kind of play with those emotions a little bit till you calibrate to what you know is right for you.
Mm-hmm. That's so interesting. What about bad advice? What is the worst advice you've ever gotten? And did you take it? Did you not?
A lot, but I do know, because I hear this every day in my work working with professionals who sell services. Over and over and over, people will say, don't sell, just serve. Don't sell, just educate. Don't sell, be of service. And they're telling people, don't do what makes your business thrive. Do the opposite and just be self-serving. Just show up and be of service. Well, you know what? Nobody wants that. Nobody wants someone to just educate them, and no one wants to be served. What they want is alignment from two smart people having a strong conversation. I don't want someone to just educate me because I'm going to hang up on you if you do that. Everyone's educated today. We go to the internet. We know things. So that terrible advice is telling people don't sell. But I know who's saying that. It's the people who don't want to sell. So they're trying to get as many people on the bandwagon of don't sell, because they're probably selling a product called don't sell. And that sounds very noble and heart-centered when you hear that, and maybe a little bit generous. But I got so tired of it. It's over-delivered. It's this terrible advice, and it doesn't help anybody. It doesn't help someone understand that if you want to move the needle in your business, there is a sales conversation that has to happen. And it has to be a generous sales conversation. It's not that sleazy, let me sell you something thing. It is a conversation between two people who are in conversation about, can I help you? Maybe not, but let's have a comfortable and conscious conversation about what it is that you need. And if I could help you, let's do it. It's not about being pushy. And anytime someone says, I don't want to be pushy, I don't want to be salesy, I don't want to be self-serving, I don't want to be one of those salespeople, then I tell them, then don't. But you do have to find a way to be generous and authentic and kind. Mm-hmm. So instead of saying what you don't want to be, I tell them to declare what you do want to be. I want to show up as myself. I want to be truthful. I want to be confident. I want to have a good conversation. So anytime you declare what you don't want to be, chances are you actually show up that way anyway.
Oh, that's so interesting. Yeah. When you're saying, I don't want to do this or I don't want to do that, that's where you're putting your emphasis.
Yes,
huh?
Exactly. So someone will say, I don't want to be pushy, but I just wanted to follow up with you, or I just wanted to touch base. Well, that's being pushy. So you're right. I mean, that is a pushy statement. And nowadays it's a fully loaded sentence. Is I thought I would just follow up is so pushy now and so aggressive, not so aggressive. I'll back off that. It's a little bit salesy, let's say. Mm-hmm. And so I don't want to be this, but I'm going to show up that way anyway. You can't declare it and then do it. You have to declare what you want and then go be that.
Oh, I like that. And maybe put it on a vision board. I've got a vision board now. One of my other guests were talking about like having a vision board where they could see it. Yeah. And I thought that was such a great idea. I've got like a cork board that I put things like that on. And so like if you put who you want to show up as, then that's where you're putting your energy. That's what you're focusing on, right?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And that's exactly, you couldn't have said it any better. That's you're going. That's the direction. I don't want to be that. It's like somebody who golfs and says, oh, I don't want to go in the sand trap. Well, the ball goes right in the sand trap. That's where you're focused.
So tell me a little bit about, is there time along your journey that you're like, oh my gosh, if I could go back and do that again, I would do it so much differently. I know so much more now. And maybe not regret, but like, I definitely would do it differently this time around.
Oh, I would say this in my relationships and in my sales jobs is I stayed way too long past the expiration date. We all do this. I sometimes catch myself where you have all the excuses. Well, the money is good. The commute is short. Even though I knew it wasn't the right place for me, I didn't want to start over or, oh, he's cute. Oh, he golfs. Oh, we have a nice relationship. I don't want to start over. So we talk ourselves into, I'm going to talk for myself. I talked myself into staying miserable because I didn't want to start over. I stayed long past the expiration date because I didn't trust myself. Mm-hmm. I didn't have the trust to know and the confidence to know that I can start over. I can do things differently. So I was too busy playing small. And I started resenting it. After you stay in something a little too long, then you start resenting it. And so the lesson for me was, here we go again. My intuition already know. And I was waiting around wasn't going to fix it. So the only thing that fixes it is clarity and getting clear and confident going, I really don't like this place. What can I do from an honest place and give myself permission to get over the discomfort and the regret and move on? Because I know I could start over. We all can. Every day is a different day. It's okay if you're doing something and you're making excuses. But at some point you have to stop and go, all right, I don't know if I could listen to myself make up excuses anymore. What am I going to do about it? Right? I'm getting tired of my voice.
Yeah, driving myself crazy. I've had that exact situation where you're talking about, where you're like, you're stuck somewhere, but it's so comfortable and you know it so well that you're like, why would I want to put myself through the discomfort and pain?
Yes.
And, you know, like it's harder. It just is harder. So how do you get past that? And a little bit fear, you know, you're a little bit scared of what might be on the other side. I'm really good at what I'm doing now, but this feels, it's a growth, but it feels scary. So tell me how you get past that.
Well, definitely work. And I was doing a post this morning on I don't know the title yet, but here's the premise, is getting real about what's not working. It's being authentic about where I was being inauthentic with myself. I was being inauthentic, staying in a relationship I didn't want to be in, or staying at a job I had lost interest a year before. So I was the one who was not being real with myself or authentic with myself about where I was being inauthentic. And I learned that through some coaching that I got. And I realized, so I'm lying to myself every single day. I'm telling a giant lie. And it's when you finally get to that and you go, all right, the jig is up. I can't pretend I don't know this anymore.
Yeah. And that's really true. And actually, you're probably the best liar to yourself there is, aren't you?
We do it every day and we do it so well. And then you catch yourself going, okay. And I don't know if I was sharing this with you when we first had our first conversation, but I got so tired of saying to myself, I'm taking myself on a solo vacation one of these years. And then I got so sick of saying that out loud that I caught myself and said, all right, what are you going to do about it? And I went to ChatGPT and I created a road trip for myself. And I went in May of this year. And I was so proud of myself because I got sick of saying that out loud. Oh, one of these days I'm going to do that. Oh, one of these days. And I was lying to myself because I wasn't taking any action. So I did it.
Yeah, I like that. I like that idea of the idea is that the stories we tell ourselves and then the action that we take that backs them up. And the authenticity piece probably comes with the congruence of those. Like,
it does.
The story we're telling ourselves is authentic and true. And the action we take gets us closer to that story where we want to be. And that makes that's where the growth comes.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, that's so smart. You're so smart. So tell me, Liz, if you could look back on your journey and high five yourself for one past financial decision, what would that be?
I would say buying my home first, but it was investing in my growth through coaching, through self-help, through books, going to webinars, teleseminars, and weekend retreats. It was investing in me and myself to be a better human being, a better sister, a better friend. That always lit me up to lean into things like that.
Yeah. And I, as a financial advisor, like, I'm always supposed to give the advice that you save for retirement and that, you're on this. And I truly will, to my dying day, say those are important things. But I've come to realize too, that making sacrifices to invest in things that will make your career better are really important financial decisions.
It's so true. And business and life kind of run on the same path. And the stuff I learned in my business, I used in my personal life as well. So and then things I did in my personal life, I was able to transfer them to my business life. So it felt very aligned for me because who I was becoming as a sister, a friend, a lover, and who I was in my business was starting to become one. No longer Liz the businesswoman and Liz the friend or girlfriend. I was now congruent with who I was on both sides. Took 2 decades to finally get that, and I'm still getting that. But when you can merge both of those and they don't even feel different, I don't feel different going to a networking event than I do going to lunch or dinner with friends.
I think that's when you realize too that you're really authentic. You're like, you are who you are. And you start attracting people that like that piece. So you don't have to be a different person at work and at home, because you're starting to attract people that like who you are at the core level. They like your authenticity. They like who you are.
And it starts by liking yourself. And I couldn't always say that. If someone said, do you love yourself? Do you like yourself? I would have said, heck no. There were things I didn't like about myself, but I was blaming it on growing up on the East Coast. That's just what you do when you're from New York. And that's not, that wasn't true. I was using as an excuse to be an ass. And that was no longer what I wanted to do. I didn't like some of the behaviors that were showing up. And I realized, no, that can change. You are choosing that behavior. Now it's time to choose something else. So it was unlearning a very ingrained behavior and finding something else. We could all do it, right? It's like choosing red shoes or blue shoes. We can do it. It's not an easy journey, but if you want it, you can do it.
So how did you learn to do that? Like, did coaches tell you? Did you read books? Like, how did you learn to get, because that's, you say, oh, you could just do that. But you know what? That is hard. That's the hard part, Liz.
I know. And it was through coaches and books and just kind of coming to it a little bit on my own. But we in any moment can make a decision or have an awareness or have a thought and go, oh, wow, that would be really cool. And then we just go back to life. Or, oh, that makes a lot of sense. Oh, I think I'll try that. And then we just go back to who we were. And we're just choosing the old way versus choosing the new way. So I'm not saying it's like that. It's saying, I think I want to be a little different. Every time I want to react the same way I react, or get upset or get mad or give someone the finger on the road, my East Coast, I would go, no, you don't do that anymore. Just let it go, or make a face. You don't have to give anybody the finger. And I would choose a different response. So it wasn't like I stopped being an ass. I was just a smaller one. And then eventually I realized now I smile at people. So if someone cuts me off, I'll sometimes wave to them or smile. And I like that side of me more than giving someone the finger.
That's really interesting. I was reading a book and I don't remember what the title was, but it was talking about how if you want to become something, you see yourself as that thing. So like, you want to get better at running, say. So you say, I am a runner. What does a runner do? Well, a runner gets up and runs in the morning in shoes, and I do that because I am a runner. And that helps you get those habits and those things that I eat better because I am a runner. And until you become that thing, you tell yourself you are. So I
want that book. Yeah, I like that. That is really good. And a lot of times I'm sure you hear it. I wish I was more disciplined. I want to be more disciplined saving money, or disciplined about building my business or going to networking events. And I say, you don't wish to be disciplined. You choose discipline. What does a disciplined businesswoman do every day? Puts on her running shoes if she wants to be a runner. She gets on her computer early if she wants to be a writer. That's a discipline that you choose. You don't work to become it. You choose it and then be it. So lean into the discipline that you're doing.
I love that. Choose it and then be it. I like that. I think that's really valuable. Super important. So, Liz, my next question is, what scared you the most when you started out on your journey? And I am wondering if anything scared you. You don't seem like you're scared of anything.
Oh, God. This is just decades of this kind of work that we're talking about. Oh, my gosh. And the one that really hits when you ask that is, I think the one that stings so many people, but for myself, it was rejection. It was putting myself and my business out there and hearing someone say no, feeling like I must not be good enough. This must not be the path that I'm supposed to be on. And sometimes rejection, it still hurts and it still can get in all of us. We're not immune to that. but it's so much less in me now. I understand that I can't win every contract. I can't get every proposal I put out. I can't get a yes from everybody I talk to. As long as I can show up and be the best version of me and then just disconnect from that it has to be any outcome, that's going to be a better way for me to run my business. But that fear of rejection and just fear in general, I don't think it ever really fully goes away. I think you manage it and you realize I can't win everything. That would be like saying every date you go on is a potential husband. So I'm going to be sad because, I must not be good enough for that person. But what if that person wasn't good for you? So it's that discerning. And again, I'm bringing it back to the intuition. Your body already knows. Listening to that. I'm not being rejected. It's my offer they're rejecting. They're not rejecting me because they don't like me. They're rejecting what my offer was or what process I had. Maybe they like someone else better. But, it used to sting so hard. And in one of my books, I write about rejection should feel like ripping off a Band-Aid, where it stings for a few seconds and pulls off a few hairs and it hurts, but it doesn't stick around for 6 weeks like you had open heart surgery. Yeah. It's quick. And if you allow it to be quick, then you recover faster from it.
Yeah, that's really important too. And I'm sure, especially in the area of sales, that idea of reject. And, you mentioned we all are in sales, all of us, no matter where we're at, we're sales people of some sort. But especially in sales, being able to say, it's not me. Like, we're just not a good fit. Like something wasn't going to work there, that I couldn't solve the problem they needed solved, or I wasn't the right person for that.
And to piggyback on that, sometimes it is that we didn't have the right solution, but sometimes we also have to go inward and ask ourselves, did I ask the tough questions? Did I have a good sales conversation? Did I scare them? Was I salesy? Did I say things that might have turned them off? And it's really going inward. It's not, we're not a good fit. Sometimes it is us, and that's where the reflection inside. So it's external as well as internal.
How do you do that internal piece without feeling like you are a failure? Because there is something that you did there that didn't work, and you have to fix that. But how do you do that without feeling like it was give up? I'm Eeyore, right?
Right. And sometimes we have to feel a little bit of that failure, or call it failure, or call it a misstep. It doesn't matter. We're going to label it something. And then if you don't turn that around in an instant, so you got one end of the stick that I lost the sale, I'm a failure. The other end of the stick is, what did I do? What could I have done better? How could I have done things differently? And if there is something there, it's up to you to build the confidence to go fix that, so this end of the stick doesn't keep happening. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And a lot of times it requires sometimes that external help, that going outside, calling someone like me and saying, Liz, no one's ever looked at my sales process to understand, am I turning people off? Could you help me with that? Could you see if I'm using words or saying things or doing anything that's kind of old school or sleazy? Or asking friends, asking colleagues, but I guarantee there's something happening in there that's turning someone off or making them just kind of discount you, but not because you're not worth it, just because something's off and they can't put their finger on it. Mm-hmm. Something doesn't feel right to them.
Yeah. Yeah. That's interesting. And it's so important too, to learn from those missteps or mistakes or things that didn't turn out quite perfectly. I'm sure you mentioned before that there are a lot of different jobs that didn't work, but you learned something from them.
Yes, always took a lesson. And if you don't get the sale, get the lesson is what I tell people. If you don't get that new business, get the lesson that was in the reason why you didn't get that.
That's so important. What about challenges? Did you face any unique challenges just because you were a woman, Liz?
Oh gosh, absolutely. Because sales was a male-dominated field 20, 30 years ago. So male-dominant that I couldn't possibly know what I was doing. I am a 5'1" woman, pretty petite, and she couldn't possibly know what she's talking about. And I know I lost business for that. People told me, oh, we went with another company. Our sales guys were a little more comfortable with having a man teach them, not you. And it hurt. It stung 20 years ago, but I realized back then it hurt. And now it was like, wow, that was just confirmation of people who were scared of having somebody come in and teach them something different. And she just happened to be a woman.
So do you still run into that today, or has it gotten better, or is it gone away entirely?
For me, entirely. And here's the only reason why is because I don't give a crap anymore. So once I'd stopped giving a crap what they thought, and I would bring it up in a meeting. I do a lot of work with law firms, so I'm dealing with a lot of strong personalities, very legal-minded, and I'll bring it up. I'm like, you're probably talking to a bunch of guys now to help you with your sales part of your law practice. And I'll bring it up because it's definitely in their head. What is this lady who isn't an attorney going to come in and teach us when we're talking to 4 other men? So I bring it up. I bring it up and out and I talk about it. Mm-hmm. And if they choose a man, oh, well, go for it, because they're probably teaching the old school stuff, and have at it.
Yeah. Liz, what is the thing you are most proud of?
Because I bathe in it every day, I would say, is my sales training and coaching business. And I say that because the way I train, the way I coach, the way I consult doesn't rely on sleazy old school tactics and scripts from the 1980s. There is no one size fits all sales process. Every human is different, every process is different, and every business is different. And I've developed my own training programs and classes that teach people how to sell with and leave all that junk behind. That stuff that says you start an email by, hope you're doing well, hope you had a great weekend. I zag when everybody else is sending a stupid message like that, which everybody on the planet says, by the way, hope you're doing well. Just know they're rolling their eyes when they hear that. And I help them craft sales processes and sales messages and sales emails and proposals and conversations by who they are. It's not me saying you need to say it this way. It's what feels right to you. I keep you in the guardrails, but we find the language and the process that fits your business, that fits everything that feels good about your business. And it really is about pulling the curtain all the way back and being authentic first. And then let's build a process around that. How do you like to talk to people? Are you a little more firm or are you a little more reserved? But let's at least calibrate to messages and a process where people still see the value in what you do. So you can close sales like nobody's business, but without the BS of the old school stuff, which is still being taught today.
Yeah, I've encountered some of that. It's so
I'm
interesting.
Sure you have.
Yeah. It's so interesting because I had a presentation to give, and so I went to a speaking coach, and they gave me a survey about what my speaking style was. And I didn't even know I had a speaking style. Like I was like, what do you mean speaking style? But apparently my purpose whenever I talk is like inspiration.
Okay.
You know, like I like to inspire people. And so it's so interesting that there's that same kind of authenticity. Like when I speak and I try and make people laugh, like maybe I'm not the comedian, right? That's maybe not me. But if I'm trying to inspire, I do really well. So it's the same sort of thing with sales, right? Like you have your own specific kind of authentic sort of the way that you do things. And if you lean into that, then you are more successful.
Absolutely. And it's nothing makes me happier than somebody I'm working with who says, oh my God, I could say it that way. Or, oh my gosh, I sent an email the other day to someone I've been following up with them for the last year, and we tweaked something and changed the messaging, and they got right back to them. And it wasn't because I have magic language. We write it as if you're writing to someone, not at someone. A lot of messages now feel like they're just coming at us like a commercial versus a message that really feels like it was written to me and it lands in my inbox for me. And when people say to me, oh my gosh, I'm going to say that all the time, or I like that message, or that I never thought I could say it that way. Mm-hmm. That's when they start realizing, oh, that's what you mean by I get to use my real self and my voice and build my business the way I want to. And look at the results I get, not someone else telling me you have to follow my process.
Yeah, that's so important. I love that that fills you up and that makes you proud, because that is really important and valuable. And I think that coming from a traditionally male dominated in finances and where women, that's probably one of the largest things that keeps women out of being a financial advisor. It's not because we don't know our stuff. It's because we have a hard time getting to that sales conversation.
Right.
And it feels icky to a lot of us. And so I think that idea of like, hey, I know male colleagues that like throw the phone book at people still today and are like, here, have fun cold calling. That's what I did. That's what you can do.
Yeah. 1995. That doesn't work anymore. And I'm glad that you've picked up on that. It doesn't feel good for you. So why would you do it? Yet your industry, there's still a lot of that old boys stuff, old boys club going on. Oh, I did it this way 30 years ago. You should do it this way today. And they forget about all the great stuff that has taken place in the last 30 years that needs to be put into a sales conversation as well. You can't treat people like it's 1995.
Yeah, exactly. So Liz, if you could give advice to a young lady who's kind of just starting down this path that you're successful at, what advice would you give her?
If this young lady was starting her own business or wanting to start something where she was the face of the business, I would say absolutely first tune into the fact that if you have a business, if you have something meant for the world, you are in sales. If you have a business, you're in sales. Unless you have a salesperson, you're the one selling not only yourself, but your product or service. Sales are the only way for every business to stay in business. Every business on the planet survives because someone is closing business, not because they have a great social media strategy. Someone has to hand you money in order for you to have a closed sale. Someone has to pay you for your expertise. And you don't get that by just posting. It's conversations. And sales is a skill like any other skill. Just like you want to learn to cook, you can learn to cook. But there is a skill behind how do you align with people? How do you talk to people in a way that opens them up, not shuts them down? So I would say learn that skill first, because everything else becomes easier when you know how to sell yourself and your services.
I love that. It sounds like it's not only a job, but a passion. Like you feel like, like you could use this, I don't know, to sell eating broccoli to a 3-year-old. Like you can use sales in just about anything.
And it really isn't what people think of sales. I know people think that, sales is all about pushing your stuff and being aggressive and making sure you stay in front of people. Well, if you want to pretend like it's 1995, yeah, it's still like that. But when there's alignment, when someone starts leaning into what you are offering, that's the start of a good conversation. And both parties get to acknowledge that, hey, Lorie, I know you and I are talking about financial planning today or your need for life insurance. And I know you're not going to make a decision today. I don't want you to make one today because this is something I need you to think through. How would you like me to stay in touch with you? Or how would you like us to continue our conversation? Versus, well, how about here's what I'll do. I'll send you a proposal in the mail and then I'll follow up with you and then we can get on each other's calendars. And it just feels like you went from being congruent, aligned, and kind and generous to salesy, pushy, and aggressive. And there's a difference. And this is where a lot of times people will ghost you when you start taking on the traits of someone who doesn't think they're being salesy or pushy, and they are, versus aligned and congruent, kind, authentic, and genuine.
Well, Liz, we've had such a great conversation. Thank you so much for joining me today. If I have a young lady who wants to get in touch with you and pick your brain and ask a few questions, how does she do that?
Oh, lots of ways. I'm on LinkedIn, Liz Wendling. My website is the same. It's lizwendling.com. And my email is liz@lizwendling.com. You'll find me.
You're out there. Well, thank you. Thank you so much for just joining us and sharing all your wisdom. And I appreciate it so much.
Thank you for letting me spend time with you. This was wonderful.